Coco Gauff's US Open title defense came to an end after losing to compatriot Emma Navarro 3-6, 6-4, 6-3 in the round of 16. Now, this is not an upset by any means, as I called Navarro first to beat Coco before the tournament even started, as Coco has had a rough summer, and then Navarro beat Coco the last time they played at Wimbledon. But I changed my mind last minute because of how well Coco played and fought against Svitolina. Yet, as the saying goes, old habits die hard, and one of Gauff's biggest weaknesses may have cost her the title defense. Hey, my name is Christian Basnight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you haven't yet already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so you're notified when I post more US Open updates throughout the tournament. Watching this match, I knew after the first couple of points that Gauff would have to come from behind and fight, as her ground strokes did not look as sharp as they did against Svitolina the previous round. Gauff immediately felt pressure, facing 2 break points in her opening service game, but she escaped them. However, that was only the start of a trend that we'd see for the next set or so, as Coco serve was constantly under siege as Navarro breezed through most of her service games. Gauff was broken at 1-2, which was actually the only time that Coco was broken in the first set, which is kind of crazy when you consider how many break chances that Navarro had and how many looks she had. The first serve percentage reveals a lot when looking at exactly why these two had differing service game durations. Navarro made 76% of her first serves in the first set, which is exceptional. Conversely, Coco landed just half of her first serve attempts. When Coco did make first serve, she had good success, winning 71% of points, but that was still no match to Navarro's 77% success rate behind her first serve. Now, enough about serves, for now at least. When the points got going, Emma was the one winning most of the baseline exchanges early in this match. She showcased exactly why she rose from 149 in the world at the start of 2023 to now being in the top 10 in the WTA live rankings. The 23-year-old hits with such good consistent pace and depth of shot, making it harder for Coco to get on the offensive herself. Navarro, of course, won her fair share of points from going after that Gauff forehand, but I think Coco did a solid job on that side when the points got started. Now, my problem lies in that forehand return. This was a major issue for Coco during their Wimbledon 4th round match, which Navarro won 4-3, by the way. But Gauff just missed far too many returns, even today, a majority of which were forehands. And I was shocked that this was an issue because I thought that the team would adequately address that and say, hey, Coco, this is coming. And Coco did say in the press conference, I believe, that, the team did warn her, but still, it just wasn't enough. And I guess it's like something about Navarro's serve that just trips up Gauff. I don't know if it's the spin exactly or the pace, because she doesn't have a whole bunch of pace, but maybe the midness of it all just tripped up Coco. I have no clue. The backhand return wasn't that solid either, to be honest. And speaking of the backhand, that shot has not looked great this tournament either. And I think that's a notable reason of why Coco wasn't successful today, and usually that's her bread and butter. To be honest, I don't have that many harsh notes for the forehand. I thought it did its job. It didn't let her down too many times. Now, back to the return, I was baffled by how Coco did not step up and properly attack the Navarro's second serve. That's been a clear weakness in Emma's game. It is probably the weakest shot that opponents will see from Navarro. So for Coco to not do that, she left a lot of points off the table. I also think it's a big reason why Navarro was able to comfortably cruise through many of her service games. Coco did a far better job of protecting her serve in the second set, some of which was due to Navarro's level dropping and her not getting a good number of returns in herself. Still, the third seed just could not capitalize on her opponent's dip in form like she should have, and she paid the price for it, as at 3-all, the first serve eluded Gauff and she lost her serve. At 6-3, 4-3, 30 love in Navarro's advantage, I thought that the match was a done deal, to be honest, but giving credit to Coco, she fought her tail off and she made key tactical adjustments like getting more returns back in play, no matter weak nor strong. She just made more returns and made Navarro play instead of netting them all. She also began using more shape on that forehand, and she did not panic and tried to end the point early. She tried to actually construct points and hang in there with Navarro, and that was very important. I know that early on, Coco kind of tried to avoid the Navarro barrage because, as I mentioned earlier, Navarro packed a heavy punch on her ground strokes, but I think using the heavier spin prevented Emma from going in the offensive herself. Navarro's level definitely dipped. I mentioned that earlier. Her first serve eluded her, and the unforced error started piling up on the 13th seed's racket. There wasn't a more clear momentum shift than when Coco finally broke Emma on her third attempt to level things up at 4-all. It was almost like it was no stopping Gauff, the way that her forehand also had just more oomph behind them, and her returns made percentage increased a lot. Gauff won the last 12 of 14 games in the second set to send us into a decider, and it looked like my recent prediction of her winning this match in 3 sets would come true. She'd opened the decider with a good hold to 15, and she looked like she would break again soon after. But that's when the double fault bug came to bite. Gauff hit 3 double faults to get broken at 1-all in that service game alone. Giving credit to Navarro though, she did step up her level again like she did in her third round win over Marta Kostyuk and just fought back well. She did not allow Gauff any more break looks for the rest of the match, and when she helped to go 1 game away from winning it at 5-3, these little kids ran to the court side, which Coco was not happy about. Of course, these kids came to try to get their ball signed as they sensed that the match was over. I mean, I can't really blame the kids. I gotta blame the parents for that one, because come on, how do you allow your kid to go and do that and the match is not even done yet? You know, there still has to be a whole game to be played. I mean, I know Coco's serve was a little shaky, but come on now, parents, y'all gotta do better. And also, as Lindsay Davenport said, it's the issue on the ushers. But anyways, that aside, I think that might have low-key messed Coco up a little bit more, as she served 3 double faults in that game alone to practically hand Navarro the win. Addressing the title of the video, it's clear that the main culprit for the Coco loss is her serve. Serving 19 double faults, 11 of which is in one set alone, is insane. I'm sorry. Coco hit 5 more double faults than she did winners, and she also hit 60 unforced errors, although I think that 19 of those are the double faults, so I'm going to give her a little bit of slack for that. The forehand has been scrutinized a lot, of course, but if you really have been watching Coco play, the serve deserves some equal smoke. That's been a problem for her practically since the start of the year, and I know there's all the talk about Andy Roddick fixing her serve in Australia. It did nothing. I have to be honest. Anyways, she controlled that service problem very well last year, which is a big reason of why she was successful. But clearly, it's just definitely the technique has crumbled and it's become more of an issue this year. And that leads me into my next discussion. 6-time US Open champion Serena Williams was in the house to watch Coco, and she gave some interesting insights into Coco's game when speaking with Mary Jo Fernandez. She said that Coco's serve obviously could stand to improve, but Williams said that she wouldn't change anything on Gauff's forehand and that she needs to be confident, Coco, with what she has already. Many people have agreed, and they say that the main issue with Coco and the sole issue really with Coco is her mental, and a lot of people have said that she needs a sports psychologist. To that I say, how do we know that Coco doesn't already have a sports psychologist? I think we need to be mindful of how much we say that about her too. Second, I don't think it's one or the other in terms of, is it the confidence or is it poor technique? I think it's both. Both go hand in hand. I think subpar technique breaks under pressure and breaks when a player does not have confidence in what they have due to the poor technique. You see how it's like a cyclical thing? Yes, you could argue that Coco needed to take something off that first serve, but some of that is due to her just not having confidence in her shaky technique, to be totally honest. Renee Stubbs said it best herself right to Brad Gilbert when the two talked about the match after, the conclusion of it. And here's some of the audio of that exchange.
That's the thing. I mean, the thing is with Emma is that she's always looking to attack, and most women are looking to attack because they often see a slow second serve in women's tennis, not like in the men's. But the difference with Coco's is, as you said, sometimes she was sitting at like in the mid-90s as the second serve.
105
then
even.
she was going like a little bit slower in the middle. There's no second serve that's the same, and that's a problem. So under pressure, bad technique breaks down, and her technique, and it's hard for me to say it because Brad's sitting here and as her coach and all, but the technique, the elbow is too low, the grip I feel like is a little weird as well. So it's hard for her to get that nice massaging first serve, or we call it a three-quarter pace first serve, and then same or similar as a second serve, but you've got to be able to hit your spots on a second serve under pressure. And as you say, she served great in practice, but I hate to say this, but most people serve great in practice because they don't have 15,000 people eyeing them and millions of people watching on TV. And Billie Jean King always says bad technique breaks down under pressure. And unfortunately for Coco this year, that's what happened because she's not confident as well.
First of all, what are y'all's thoughts of Brad suiting up immediately after the Coco loss to speak to ESPN about why she lost? It's definitely interesting, but even that convo was indicative of why I think Brad might not be the best coach. Not addressing the actual root technical issues within Coco's game. Just not really addressing the technical issues of the serve. The serve, I think, would definitely be more easier to fix than the forehand for sure. And that's where I kind of do agree with the Serena, and that maybe trying to mess with Coco's forehand and really doing deep changes to that shot might be a lost cause. You just might need to just focus on something else. Brad does seem like the type of coach to kind of put band-aids over bullet holes, and really that's not the type of coach you need if you want to become the great champion that I believe Coco is destined to be. I have so many more thoughts on this, but I'm going to save them for that highly anticipated Coco Gauff deep dive video, which is probably going to be coming about 2 weeks after the tournament. Anyways, I think a lot of Coco's struggles has to do with the newfound pressure of being a Grand Slam champion. I feel like many people have underestimated that and overlooked it. It is not easy being the favorite and having eyes on you, especially being so young, only 20 years old. And then too, you have to consider this day and age with social media and everyone having an opinion. It's very tough. It's got to be tough for Coco. Coco will drop to at least number 6 in the rankings after the tournament, and I think that would be good for her and maybe taking pressure off of her, especially even more so now that the title defense isn't a factor anymore. That's behind her as well. Serena Williams herself, she struggled after winning her first major, and it took her 2.5 years to win her second. Iga, it didn't take her as long to win her second major, but she didn't have the greatest sophomore season in the slams either. Serena also said that Gauff is still so young and she has the rest of her career to improve. And I agree, Coco's only, once again, 20 years old, and she has at least, I think, 15 more years on the tour. I thought that Gauff had a good perspective in her post-match press conference. She was honest and said that she was not happy with her summer, but that she felt that her ground game was rounding into form this tournament, which I agree with. She also said that the double faults let her down for sure, and that she'll definitely something she has to work on. I thought this loss was definitely not terrible at all from Coco. It was good that she got that second set, because if it was a straight sets loss, I think it definitely didn't look good on her, but her ability to kind of fight past that issue, that rough part, and play good tennis in the latter part of the second set and in some parts of the third set was a very good omen for her. I think that'll do her some good for sure. The ground game looked solid, I thought. It's just the return and the serves were just huge weaknesses, and ultimately that is why she wasn't able to come out on top. But once again, she showed incredible fight, her being able to use the crowd as well. It showed us why she's a Grand Slam champion and exactly why she won the US Open last year. There were great signs from Coco of this tournament for sure, and I think it's her best tournament since maybe Roland Garros. Even I think it's low-key on par with Roland Garros in terms of how she played. Speaking of majors, Coco is one of only 2 women to make the second week at all 4 slams this year, including Jasmine Paolini. Yes, you might argue her draws weren't the toughest, but still that's a huge accomplishment in its own. Now, really quick on Emma Navarro, I thought that Emma played a solid match. I think though that she's going to have to play better if she wants to go all the way in this tournament, especially with how loaded this bottom half is, with Aryna Sabalenka being the big title favorite and a potential semifinal opponent for her. She wavered a bit, Emma did, especially after losing that 6-3, 4-3 lead, and really her level dipped after the opening set, but Coco didn't properly capitalize due to those missed returns. I think against a better opponent like a Sabalenka, Emma would lose. She's going to have to clean up her game for sure and improve her returns if she wants a shot at the title, simple as that. Emma now faces Paula Badosa, who's been in good form all summer and is even more dangerous after she saved a match point in her third round. Still though, I gotta give credit to Navarro for how well she played in the first and third sets and for fighting back after the big momentum shift. She deserves credit for her entire meteoric rise in this 2024 season, because it's just been incredible how she just comes out on these big stages for the very first time, like Center Court and Ash, and just plays like it's nothing. She has just ice in her veins. Playing all that tennis on the lower ranks like the ITFs and the 125Ks definitely have done her wonders. Congratulations, Emma, on another big milestone. Do y'all think that this loss is a cause for concern for Coco, or will she be just fine and finish the season strong? Also, do you think that the issue with Coco is more about technique or confidence, or really both, like how I think? And then 2, do you think Coco should sack Brad Gilbert? Leave all those thoughts in the comment section below. And again, if you have not already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post more updates. I'm not just going to be talking about Coco, y'all. Thank y'all again so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see y'all next time here on Christian's Court.